Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your Cannabis Business podcast. Today, we're going to be taking a look at why the Safe Banking Act might hinder cannabis decriminalization efforts. To help us do that is Katrina Glogowski, angel investor and attorney in Seattle. Katrina, thanks for being back on the podcast.
Thanks, Josh.
So according to a political director at the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, or NORML, they're saying that Congress is focusing too much on banking and not enough on decriminalization. So the House now has to focus on addressing the underlying criminalization. They don't believe that given a up or down vote that they would see either a bill to simply end prohibition or the MORE Act. So he goes on to say that the criminal relation of marijuana was not predicated on any substantial public health or evidence-based approach. It was rooted in racial animus.
Josh, my understanding of what's going on here is the difference between the two acts, the SAFE Act, which has not passed, and the MORE Act, which has also not passed. And these two bills do very different things. The SAFE Act says, we understand that cannabis is federally illegal, but many states have, in fact, legalized cannabis, and these legal businesses desperately need access to banking. The MORE Act, in contrast, says, let's take it further. And the MORE Act says, let's make cannabis federally decriminalized. Now, if it is federally decriminalized, that may or may not open banking access because it's going to still remain a Schedule I controlled substance. But it also contains some reparations and some fairness provisions that the SAFE Act does not contain. And so when you compare these two statutes, NORML is saying we want to go further than the SAFE Act, and NORML is saying, the SAFE Act is really holding up the MORE Act. And so it's 6 of one or half a dozen of the other as to what Congress would be willing to sign and not willing to sign. Now, the MORE Act is much further than the SAFE Act. And what is Congress going to pass? Now, here in Washington, where cannabis is legal, and they just want banking. They don't care about decriminalizing cannabis because it's already decriminalized in Washington. So they don't necessarily really care about the MORE Act. But if you're in a state like Idaho, where, a little stubby of a joint is going to get you some prison time, they don't care about banking because people with little stubbies are going to jail. And so you need to make a decision there. And which one are you going to support? And I think one of the points of analysis has to be which one is more likely to pass Congress. One that says cannabis is illegal, but you need banking so that we can track the taxes, right? It's all about the money. Or take it all the way and say cannabis is no longer federally illegal, or as they say, decriminalized. And so you just have to pick between the two and go from there. Quite frankly, I don't know that either one of them are going to pass Congress this term for a variety of reasons, given the multitude of issues that Congress is facing right now. But I'd like to see the SAFE Act pass before I'd like to see the MORE Act passed.
And I think some of the verbiage from the Safe Banking Act was pulled during the pandemic when a lot of states were claiming essential business. So I think that some of the verbiage from the Safe Banking Act will make its way eventually, but whether or not the Safe Banking Act in and of itself, I don't know. Mike Crapo, if he has anything to do with it, Republican out of Idaho, it'll never make the Senate Banking Committee. So who knows if the next president will just do an executive order and just allow for banking. Hopefully, what won't happen is that they'll just deschedule it so that only big pharma can have it. That would be the ultimate thing, is to keep it illegal for everybody else and only allow big pharma to take it. I wouldn't put it past them. That could definitely give them the revenue opportunity while keeping it criminal for all of the rest of us. So I'm not really sure which way it's going to go, but if Mike Crapo has his way, it's going to go nowhere.
Well, I got to tell you, that's the direction of CBD. Once the FDA approved GW Pharma's Epidiolex, that was not the best thing. Fair disclosure, I'm a shareholder in GW Pharma. I want them to do well, but at the same time, it changed the industry, because now the FDA can say, we did approve CBD. They went through the trials, they did what they were supposed to do, and we approved it. Mm-hmm. Now you want your grandma's chocolate secret recipe infused with CBD to be legal. Got to go through the same process that GW Pharma did. So hopefully that your prediction, Josh, about big pharma being in THC isn't correct. I have my fingers crossed that you're wrong on that, Josh.
I hope so, but if you follow the money, it makes sense to legalize it while criminalizing it for everybody else. That's just kind of the way that the U.S. government has been operating for so long, but hopefully things are changing and people are taking power back, and we can grow from home and smell a rose and smoke cannabis and eat a dandelion, just do whatever you want to do as an adult, right? That's kind of what my take is on it. So, yeah.
Agreed.
With that, we're going to roll this one up. I want to thank my guest, Katrina Glogowski, angel investor and attorney in Seattle. Thanks for being back on the podcast.
Thanks, Josh.
I am Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Or don't. And I'm out. Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and check out these other videos that we've got.